Oh, first love, first love, first love. I think that's the meaning of the Jolion. But yeah, you guys can confirm in the comment if I missed that one. Hey, look, this is the gwmhavaljolion. Now I'm going to call it in full because you can see the lettering here. Now GWM was like, this thing is selling. We're not going to be left behind. We want everyone to know that GWM is actually the mother brand of the Haval. And I think that's what they've done here with the lettering, of course, adding it to the new Jolionpro. So what we have here today, we have the one that will give you everything that you can ever request from a Jolion. I mean, the specs, the features. If you ever want to spec out the Jolion, this is the one, because this is the Jolionpro Ultralux HEV. You heard me right, Ultralux. That means everything is in here. And you know what, there's some stuff, of course, that I'm not comfortable with, especially with the changes that were done visually and so on. But you know what, we'll talk about that more on the way. You know, I don't like wasting time outside the car. There's a lot that we need to talk about when it comes to this car. And you know what, without further ado, let's just hit the road. No, wait, did I greet? Did I greet? I don't think I greeted. Guys, welcome to the channel. It's Wayne. I appreciate that you're here with me today. Look, let's just go, guys. Let's just go. Hey, I know some of you like it when I start the car and you hear that engine kicking in. Look, this is the HEV, so you don't get to hear anything when it starts. It starts on EV mode and it's quiet. All you're going to see is that the car is ready on the screen just in front of you. So yeah, but otherwise, as I've said, that this thing is feature packed, and the minimal features in here should tell you that you are going to use the screen a lot. It's so hot, guys. So yeah, you press the AC button, it brings up the screen, and you can be able to adjust a lot more stuff like defrosting and what you want to do in terms of the mode and aircon and so on. Yeah, swipe the screen out and then swipe right. You'll find more settings like seat heating, the driving modes as well. And if you want more settings in terms of the driving and advanced driving features and so on, you have to go into the AI driving. So when you're driving, you're probably not going to have the screen ready. You swipe right and then into AI driving, you will find that intelligent driving where you can control like traffic sign assist, lane assist. I'm not a big fan of traffic sign assist, and I'm glad that you can turn it off in here. Turn it off because I prefer that. Then into the comfort features as well, you go in there, you can adjust your wireless charging in terms of external mirrors, and then into the driving settings here, guys. I think the thing that I was looking for is the 10 multi-mode feature, because I've been looking for adjustments to the steering wheel. When it came, it was on sport and it felt that it was a little bit too tight. I didn't know where it is. I think this is supposed to be closer, but yeah, you can adjust it in there. And yeah, I think that's the thing that you just need to be aware. Then the HUD display screen that is in front of us here, it has, of course, multiple features. Of course, you can adjust the brightness there in terms of how it looks and so on, and also the stuff that you need on it in terms of what mode you want and the position. You can just adjust a lot of stuff in it. I'm not fuzzy about that. Coming into the seat settings, guys, this is the only time you're going to see that this car has a seat ventilation. Otherwise, you won't find it anywhere. I think this was supposed to be very close because we're in a hot country. But yeah, I guess they prioritized that seat heating. In the light settings, of course, it's just a matter of adjusting the lighting and so on. Back to that intelligent driving, guys. Lane assist, you have to choose as well. What is it that you want? Do you want a warning? Do you want it to keep you in lane? What is it that you like? Just there's a lot of settings that you have to go through. But these ones, because it's not every day that you will need them, I don't think it's necessary to worry about it in terms of how far they're buried in the screen, because when it comes to these kind of things, once you set them up for yourself, you're not going to worry about them, like lane change assist, which is like blind spot monitoring and how sensitive it should be and so on. The language though, no, they can change that one sometimes, because you don't need to complicate the language. I mean, multi-10 mode. I mean, why don't you just say steering wheel mode? Anyway, the camera system here, guys, you know, when it comes to this, I can't complain a lot when it comes to Haval. They do a great job. And the angles, man, this thing serves angles for days. And you know what, the sensors and everything else, they work so well. I don't think you will be bumping a lot of stuff in this car. Their camera systems is quite clean as well. I like that about it as well. And yeah, when it comes to the screen itself, to get like your normal settings and modes and what, you will find a normal screen there. And yeah, that's it basically when it comes to the screen. And I think, yeah, we're not going to be worried more about that for now. So yeah, let's get ready to hit the road. Yeah, you can hear that it starts quietly on EV mode. That's how it starts. Unless if you punch it from standstill, then the engine will immediately just come in with the electric motor. But hey, on starting it seamlessly like this, it definitely goes with the electric motor. This bottle is actually disturbing me now. I think it's disturbing my peace. Ish. So yeah, the engine kicks in at some point, I think just above 40 kilometers per hour or so, depending on how you're driving. If you're just rolling down, sometimes it doesn't necessarily kick in. But most of the time it will actually kick in, because the electric motor is not enough to actually move this vehicle on its own, as this is not like a typical big battery HEV. But I have to say that when the engine is integrating, it does so seamlessly that it's one of the most impressive things for me, because this thing, the way it adjusts between the electric motor and the engine itself, man, it makes me wonder whether the combination of a turbocharger and an engine are actually the best things out there, because this is a small engine. We're talking about a 1.5 liter natural aspirated engine, and I'm thinking, when you have a 1.5 liter natural aspirated engine in any car, go and look at any car that we reviewed with this kind of a setup, you'll know for sure that we have a problem already. But pairing it with the electric motor, probably the best thing that Haval could have done, because combined they're bringing out 140 kilowatts and 375 newton meters of torque. This is the most powerful Haval Jolion. And I have to say that if you try to do the math with the engine and the electric motor, you'll have a problem, because the engine itself, the petrol engine in here, is bringing about 70 kilowatts and 125 newton meters of torque. I think that's not a lot, and that's normal for a 1.5 liter natural aspirated. Then the electric motor is bringing more than 100 kilowatts and 250 newton meters of torque. So that combined, they're giving you that 140 kilowatts, 375. Don't try to do the maths, it's not gonna work. But the same power figures are coming as well from the pre-facelift Jolion, the one that was not called the Pro, which was, funny enough, a lot more expensive than this one. I mean, this is the facelift, but it's costing 63,000 rands less, coming in at 516,000 rands. And I'm thinking, how did they manage to do that? This is crazy. We need to think about this, because I think there's opportunity for other manufacturers as well. I mean, they're learning curves in everything that you produce. The more you produce, the more you do it faster. So we need to think about this. Anyway, the lineup, I think they reduced the pricing from down low, and you'll see that the lineup is a little bit confusing these days, because you get the normal Jolions that look like the normal Jolions, but they've been updated. You'll find two variants in there: the CT manual transmission, the 6-speed, and the CT Plus, which is the 7-speed DCT. They both have the same turbocharged engine that we know, the 1.5 liter turbocharged, 105 kilowatts, 210 newton meters of torque. And then when you jump over to the Pros now, the ones with this body kit that we're going to talk about in a while, you will find the Premium, which is the 7 DCT now, the Super Luxury, Ultra Luxury, then you get the S Ultra Luxury. As much as it comes with that 1.5 liter turbocharged, it's bumped up in power now, 130 kilowatts, 270 newton meters of torque, paired to a 7 DCT as well. This one though, I've already given you the power figures, so this one, it's not paired to a 7 DCT. You can feel when you're pulling it, They call this, I think, direct hybrid transmission, but to me it's a CVT. It sounds like it, drives like it, feels like it. And yeah, when you're driving it, you will feel down low that actually it screams all the way, I think, up to 100 kilometers per hour or so, until then it steps over to the next, I don't want to call it a gear because you'll come for me, but whatever that CVT does, guys. So I think for me, yeah, this is a CVT, but it's, when you're driving it like fine, you're just pulling properly like this, it doesn't bother you that much. Only when you really want all the torque and power to come out at once, that's when you're gonna feel that, oh, this thing is a CVT and it's screaming a lot. Brother, why is your car screaming so much? Otherwise, you know what, this bottleneck, it's like, I don't like what it's doing right now. I'll find space for it because I don't like rattlings. I'm gonna end up blaming the car for things that it doesn't do. Otherwise, guys, let's talk changes, because of course there are changes on the Jolion Pros and even on the normal Jolion. So the normal Jolions that I mentioned, it's not a lot, but here, the body kit, I don't know, I'm gonna call them the body kit because that's what it is. And you'll see on paper, this is wider. It looks wider even when you're looking at it as well, because of the wheel arches that they've added here. And that's probably one of the things that are bothering me a bit. But let me just start with the changes in front. Let me not start with the stuff that bothers me. It's in front, this grille that is vertical and it looks a little bit like the famous Panamericana grille. Initially I was like, nah, I don't think it's working. I don't think I like how it looks. But the more I kept looking at it, I was like, no, actually it's fine. I'm okay with it. Then you see the DRLs on the side. You see that they've changed those, the main clusters as well. The previous HEV used to have this blue line in it that was telling you that it's HEV. These clusters, they've changed them. The TRLs as well, they deleted that big indicator, that big lights that were coming in together with the main lights at night. They went instead for a typical DRL that is separated from the main cluster. And from that perspective, I think it's all right until I look at the stuff that I said body kit. The front lip, I'm not sure about it. It's okay. It looks okay, actually. Looks as subjective. The reason I don't like it is because I don't think this is a sporty car. If it had like that sound and so on, maybe I would forgive it, like the H6 GT. I look at it and I'm like, yeah, it's okay because I know what it does. In here, I'm not sure about that. Then the wheel arches, they've extended this car on the side. It's wider now. And when I'm looking at it compared to the tire size, the wheel size as well, they're not wide enough. When you're looking at it from the front, in that angle, it's like the tires and the wheels are inside. And yeah, I don't know, maybe they should have used 255 because these are the 215th R18 tires. If maybe they were 255, they would be wide enough. I don't know. And also if they were 19-inch, because they look a little bit smaller in the wheel arch as well. But besides that, I think the side skirts and stuff, I'm not too bothered about that. In the rear as well, you'll see that, do you call that a lip as well? The one that is down there by the, as if it's a diffuser and so on. Again, I'm not sure if all this stuff was necessary. Looking at the spoiler as well, not really my favorite thing. When I'm looking at the whole thing though, oh, there's a light bar now. And you can't hate the light bar. If you hate the light bar, it's a problem. Because this looks nice. That's the part at least looks nice. And some people, I know they're bothered by the GWM lettering. But if you think about it, man, if I have a brand that is doing so well, people are praising it for quality, for everything else, and some people don't even know that it's GWM, I will show you now that I'm the mother company. And this is my product, so that you know when you're buying a GWM, you buy from the guys that have done the Haval. I think they've done a great job. This car, overall, besides the boy racer stuff, I'm okay with it. I can't complain much about that. Coming inside, so happy that they didn't go radical with the interior, because this is the same interior that you find in the Jolion. The normal one that we've seen when it came in around 2021, it still looks like it is from today. And that's the thing that I appreciate about minimal interiors. They are hardly ever outdated because it doesn't have a lot of buttons around it. You don't find that you're pressing a lot of old looking buttons around you and so on. I think I'm okay with it. Just that, of course, when it comes to the practicality of not having a lot of buttons, it might be a little bit of a problem. But I always say, once a car is yours, you're going to get used to a lot of this stuff in terms of navigating around the car, when to touch, where to touch, and all around that. I think from that perspective, they've done a great job. Turning around, looking at the seats as well, amazing. I'm okay with this. This is a good, well-designed vehicle that I can't really complain much about, because when it comes to this, they nailed it. They nailed it. The open road. Let's put it on sport, pull it, and yeah. Yep. Did I say it's not slow? I don't remember if I told you that it's not slow. It is not slow, guys. And that's one thing that impresses me. Remember what I said initially when I said I'm not sure if turbocharger plus the engine is the only solution we have now after driving this, because I'm thinking, man, if this thing has enough juice in the battery and you pulling it, you can feel that actually it can challenge a lot of turbocharged 1.5s. Because funny enough, I got into this car after driving the Q3 1.4, 110 kilowatts, 250 newton meters of torque, and I can tell you that it does feel a little bit different in here. And I'm expecting this to be a little bit heavy because it's an HEV, and it feels different. It feels like it's more punchier. I don't know if it's my eyes or if it's just how I feel about it, but it does actually feel much more punchier to actually even get to 100. Even when you're already on the move like this and you're putting your foot down, it actually responds quite well, and you will feel that the electric motor is actually doing the job, because you're not only hearing the engine sound that is screaming, but also that from the electric motor telling you that I'm here, I'm also assisting you to actually move this thing. And that is actually quite impressive what they've done with this vehicle. So those 140 kilowatts and 375 Nm, I think you can actually feel them on the road. Again, something that is very impressive about it, and I'll use the Q3 again as a reference because we just came out of it. Look, I can't believe I'm saying this, but from the moment I got into this thing, I started thinking to myself, man, this feels a little bit more comfortable, and the stuff that you need to touch, it's actually a little bit more on the better side in terms of the premiumness of it. And I can't believe I'm saying this actually. And when I'm thinking about it, this guy has a lot more spec and tech overall, and it's coming in 300 and something thousand rands below. You can see right now as on the cruise control, it can drive itself, it can do all those things. And that Q3, it's coming in at 880,000 rands, if I remember very well. And that is something that, of course, I can't do in that. And you start thinking, this is scary, man. This is scary. We have to be honest about that. This is actually quite scary, because I'm thinking these are almost similarly matched in terms of size, except, of course, that practicality. There's stuff that I'm still worried about. But overall, when I'm thinking of it as a vehicle, man, I'm thinking, no, man, we need to ask ourselves, how are they doing this? And how can the Germans actually find a way to actually do this cheaper? Because I think that's where the problem is as well. We can't discredit that those cars are made in Germany, different engineers, different kind of labor force and so on. So those things are informing a lot of what these cars are priced at. And it's worrying that you can get a car like this doing all this for only this much. That is worrying, because there's just so much that this car offers on the road. And let's pull it. Okay, no, there's no need for that. Okay, so look, when it comes to overall feeling on the road, man, they've done a great job. Remember, the typical Jolion comes with a torsion beam at the back. I've explained this in our 800 review. You can go check that. This one is a multi-link at the back, which means the suspension it's independent. When it's shifting, when you're turning, when you're taking curves, it can be able to adjust from one side to the other without actually just depending on the other to move the car and so on. And that is the impact of the independent suspension in terms of how it responds. The comfort levels as well, I applaud them for that, because as much as I complain about the 18-inch tires that are here, the aspect ratio is actually 55, which means it's not a low-profile tire. And when you're driving on the roads like this, then you are able actually to feel the comfort levels that are coming in through the suspension, through the tire size as well. That is quite impressive, because for me, this car feels comfortable, man. Besides the fact that sometimes I do feel that the engine noise is actually coming in quite strongly, I can discredit the wind noise. I can discredit as well the tire noise, because it's not that much, especially for what you pay for a Jolion, man. It's actually up there with some expensive cars. That's the thing that Haval does well, man. The comfort levels in here are quite good, and I'm very much impressed with what they've done with this car. Look, I can rave about this and it's gonna end up feeling like I'm just praising it for nothing, because I really think they've done a great job in the drivability of this car. Yes, this CVT, yeah, but once already on the move and you're able to hit overtakes as well, taking it now back to normal, okay, yeah, because you don't really need to put it on sport all the time. And when it's on normal like this, it's also assisting with the fuel consumption, because of course it can drive normally, bring in the HEV, bring in the electric motor rather, and also do whatever HEV does. One thing probably that I think can be better for an HEV is the fuel consumption. Yes, it's still quite relatively good compared to a lot of Chinese cars, because especially when they're still pretty new like this, you find that it's averaging around 10 liters before it can settle down at around 8 liters. But this one still pretty much new, and I've been averaging 7.1 per 100 kilometers over the last, I think, almost 300 kilometers or so. So it's quite responsive. Yes, it's not the entirely most refined car that will give you the best fuel consumption, but I think they've done a great job overall when it comes to actually that, because I believe over time then it will be actually going a little bit lower. See what I mean? It is not slow. It's mostly going to be satisfactory for you when you're driving it on the road like this. Yep. So one thing probably I've already complained about the body kit. Another thing that is a little bit of an issue for me, honestly, is practicality. This car, I mean, in the cabin itself, this car measures what? I think 4.4, just about 4.4 meters. So it's quite long. It's enough, especially for this size. And the wheelbase as well, it's around 2.7 meters. So in the cabin, you will find that you have plenty of space for people to sit. Even in my driving position behind myself, I don't have a problem. I don't struggle with space whatsoever. Whoever can come in here, despite the height, even if they're like 1.85, 1.9, probably they're gonna have sufficient space as well. But one thing probably that I didn't like now is because the USB, the ports in this case, they are under the center console here in this bridge. And when it comes to that, that is a little bit of a problem, because sometimes if you don't have a long cable, you can't bring it up, and at the same time the phone will just be going left and right as you're turning. And it happened somewhere when we started there on the open road as well. So that's just something that bothers me a little bit. But if you look around, you can see that you have plenty of spaces that you can use to actually put the stuff in the car. So from that perspective, I can't complain. But go into the boot. No, Haval, that boot, I think they said they're rated at 255 liters. It will never be enough, especially for a car like this that you can travel with many people who will come with bags. And then now where are you going to put them? Because even the boot doesn't have enough underfloor space in there. Then you don't get a spare wheel as well. That's another thing that you need to be aware of. And yeah, that might be a bummer for some, because this kind of cars, you need to actually have those kind of things already. But hey, you don't get that. That's my gripe with it. I think the normal Jolion will actually be better when it comes to that, because I think the boot space does get to around what, maybe 335 or somewhere there, 340 liters, which is like your typical small SUV size. So I can't really complain when it comes to this. But there are other cars that are like 400 and something. I think the Corolla Cross, even if it's a hybrid, you still get a lot more space in the boot. So I think Haval, I understand that you need to put the batteries and the hybrid stuff needs to be in there as well, but we need to work on this practicality. But otherwise, when it comes to the Havaljolion, man, there's just so much value that you're getting from this. There's a lot of car for what you're paying actually, and that's something that I think informed a lot of people when it comes to buying these kind of cars, because even when you're looking at the competition, some of them that are coming with smaller cars at this price point, they're not giving you as much as this vehicle is giving. Yes, there's a big competition from Chery these days, but we can't discredit that. Should I say the Chery group rather, but we can't discredit that Haval is bringing a lot of quality that, you know, sometimes you can't even say that no, I can't believe it's actually this much in terms of price. But hey, look, there is so much value for money in here. And I think when it comes to after sales, there is now increasing support because Haval has been here for some time. You'll see that when it comes to things like, people are worried about parts and so on, like when they bump into a car and stuff. Look, there's a lot of manufacturers that are suffering when it comes to supply chain right now and getting like parts as quickly as possible. I think this one as well, they need to order from China on some of the parts depending on what is it that they need to replace. But the more these cars are coming into the market, of course there will be more parts in circulation, even second-hand ones from some of the cars that were crashed probably in front, and then you find that you can find something from the rear as well. So that's how actually this thing, or this aftermarket, grows. And when it comes to this one though, it comes with a 7-year or 200,000 vehicle warranty that you'll get, and then on the battery you'll get an 8-year or 150,000 kilometer warranty. Then the car itself comes with a 5-year or 75,000 service plan. I think for me, yeah, that's something that is like, I can applaud that because it's showing that they do have confidence in their vehicles. Yep. So if you want to get the Jolion, especially the HEV, that's the info. And from my side, hey, let me not say goodbye, because I know you're gonna say, how did you forget the sound system test? Look, this comes with a 6-speaker Haval in-house sound system, I think. And for me, it's not necessarily the best sound system out there. Yes, it can actually give you enough, especially when you're on that road trip, you just want to play the sound system. You can get the whatever that you want to get from the instruments. You can be able to hear a lot, but when it comes to bass, it dies down when you're driving. It plays well, it does rattle here and there in some songs, but it's not necessarily the worst thing out there. It can be better though, and I think Haval, it's time probably you start bringing those Infinity sound systems, other branded sound systems. You can work with other manufacturers to bring better sound systems, because even at this price point, there are other manufacturers that are bringing bigger sound systems in these cars, and they matter to people like us. Guys, with that said, I'm going to play the sound system for you, and I think after that, it will be it from us. I really appreciate that you were here with me today. Really appreciate you. Till the next one, I am out.